Hi there, fish tankers. There are a few things that I haven't done in the hobby. One of them is reef keeping, and the other is high-tech planted tanks with CO2 injection like you see there on the right hand of this tank. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's a great thing. There's no doubt that plants grow a lot faster when you have CO2 injection. And there's also a couple of other things. You can grow a huge variety of plants, a bigger variety that you can grow without it. And if you do not have CO2 injection, you're not going to be able to achieve an aquarium like this one. These very bright red plants, I haven't been able to grow them without CO2 injection. If you have, please let me know in the comment section if you are able to grow red plants like these. And also a carpet like this, I haven't found it to be achievable without CO2, but don't despair. You can have an aquarium like this one, which is a low-tech planted tank, where it is just an ordinary light. But what kind of plants can you use to achieve this? Stick around and find out. Of course, I'm going to start with this old stalwart, the Anubias. These are epiphytes, so they don't even need substrate. They feed off a water column, so a good quality all-in-one liquid fertilizer will do the job. Now, Anubias is a slow-growing plant. It's best to put them in the shady areas, and you attach them. They have a rhizome like all epiphytes do, and you attach them with aquascaping string, or you wedge them, or you can use super glue. Just go sparingly on the super glue. Don't cover the rhizome because then it will die. And they feed off a water column. They're almost indestructible. Anubias don't need a lot of light. Even if you don't have an aquarium light and it's in a well-lit room with ambient light, they're probably also going to be fine. And don't put them in the direct light because algae can grow over the leaves, but this nearite snail helps to keep it in check. Then the second one is the other epiphyte that we all know, Java fern. Now these come in a lot of different varieties, and as you can see, these are more your standard ones. But then you also got to get the thin needle leaves, and also the broader leaves and the more bushy Windallow Java fern. And you need a good liquid fertilizer, but they have low light requirements. As long as they get a bit of potassium in form of an all-in-one type fertilizer, they'll be fine. And I, at one stage, only had Java fern in my 75 gallon. And I found the trick is lower light for a longer period of time. These were old school fluorescent lights, and when I upgraded to LED lights, I found that the Java ferns started dying away. They weren't doing as well at all. So in my experience at least, the trick is low light over longer periods of time for Java fern. And number 3 is something that's not really even a plant. It's Vaser Tang. That's a German name that means freshwater seaweed. And you can see it looks like seaweed with a sort of flaky texture. And it's actually a bladderwort, and some people don't like it because it clumps off and spread all over the aquarium, gets trapped everywhere. But I found the trick is, as you can see here from above, I wedged a small clump into the spiderwood, into the crevices, and then it became this huge carpet of this Vaser Tang. And the fish love it because little microbes grow in between the Vaser Tang. The fish spawn there. There's lots of critters and microscopic food for the fry. And I think that's a big reason why this tank has been so prolific in constantly producing more and more cherry barbs and diamond tetras in a community tank setup. So wedge it in tightly in your hardscape, close to the light and close to some strong flow. That's what I found works with Vaser Tang. And then maybe you can also have this big clump carpet-like texture. It's nice texture in the tank, and the fish love it. Then moving on to stem plants, they get planted into the substrate, but they're also mostly water column feeders, so liquid fertilizer will suffice. They don't have a strong root system, and here's my favorite, Viia. Now Viia, I've got all these nice little leaves. You're not going to be able to grow a red Viia in a low-tech tank, but you do have these green ones, and they grow quite fast too, and you can just clip off the stems and replant them, and pretty soon you're going to have lots of plants. So that's the Viia. Very nice texture, and they become quite bushy if you keep on trimming them down and planting them out regularly. A few stems can eventually, if you do that, populate the whole aquarium. And here's another stem plant, and that is Hygrophila or water sprite. And these are one of those plants that look completely different when you see them here in the shop. When you buy them, they look almost like Viia. But once, that's because they're grown immersed outside of water. Once they're underwater, that's when they change. They look like you'll see there in the insert on your screen, and they really look like water sprouts. They become very bushy then. They resemble carrot leaves, you know, a carrot top. That's the closest I can describe it. And they're great for live bearers, for places for fry to hide. Now we move on to rooted plants, my favorite, and they need food from a substrate, so at least you're going to have to put in some root tabs, or you can use aqua soil, that's the easiest option, or you can do what I do and just use dirted substrate, which is a layer of swell capped off by sand. And of course, you know, I'm going to go with Vallisneria here. Now they resemble grass, and once they get growing, I grow with runners. They really populate the tank. That's one side of my aquarium, and you can see it's chock-a-block, completely full of a Vallisneria forest, and that's where all the fry, you see this is Vaser Tang also sticking out of the back of that clump. The fry love to hide there when they're small. The fish wants a bit of a break from an over-amorous male. They go in there and they hide. And also in South Africa, we don't have a lot of floating plants because most of them are on a banned list. The Vallisneria will also start trailing along the surface, which is great for your fish, and gouramis love it especially. Just make sure to trim it back every now and then, that it doesn't shade off all the light completely and your root feeding plants suffer. And you can see also the ramshorn snail is enjoying himself in the Vallisneria forest. You get many varieties. This is Kryptokarini balancei. This is our next plant variety. And look at that texture, it's a nice alternative to Vallisneria, and I've got many Kryptokarini plants. Don't ask me which species is which. There's Kryptokarini wendii, and I think there's also Kryptokarini undulata, and I also have some Kryptokarini, I think it's Axelrodi in there with the browner leaves. And you can see I can't say it's a carpet, but they are shorter plants and they're great from mid-ground to the foreground. This is my favorite aquatic plant, and as long as you have a dirted substrate or aqua soil or lots of root tabs, they're slow growers, and you need to have a bit of patience because some plants are grown immersed, and when they go into the aquarium they die back for a bit, but then they bounce back. And some of my favorite plants, Kryptokarinis, I like the texture of crypts, as they're called for short, and I like those leaves and just a bit of more color variety in them. Guys, if you watch this part, please hit that like button. I will greatly appreciate that. And please remember to share among your fishy groups. And tell me which are your favorite low-tech plants in the comment section. And we're going to end with a king of aquarium plants. This is of course the Amazon sword plant. Once again, that guy you see there has been grown immersed. The leaves will change once they are grown submerged, once they get used to being underwater full time. An open top tank will actually grow their leaves outside of the water as well. And here we see the type that you don't see so more, but this is my favorite type. You can see those leaves are now fully submerged. There you see a very nice looking Amazon sword. I have them also in my 29-gallon tank. And there you see more of them. This is at Brackenfell Pets. So if you're in the Cape Town region, go there and get yourself some of these, and they're very cheap as well. And they make a nice centerpiece plant. And here you can see from the top view of my 29-gallon, there's the Amazon sword still. I have to admit it's not growing all that well because the crypts are not the crypts so much, but the Vallisneria is out competing it for food, I suspect. And here's some really huge ones I filmed at Lulilocks the other day. So if you have a really big tank, this could be the plant for you. It doesn't have to be that big either. They're not all as big as these. And also angels like them a lot to spawn on the leaves, as well as do harlequins. Well, that's it, people, as we prepare for nightfall. Please remember to subscribe, and please tell me in the comment section which are your favorite low-tech plants, because this list is by no means exhaustive. And until I see you again, keep taking good care of those domestic denizens of the deep.